Flavio Briatore. The name probably rings a bell to fans of F1, and mainly the ones who were around to see Fernando Alonso go all out against Big Schumi in the years 2005 to 2006 and emerge victorious. When the Spaniard was winning title after title with Renault, it was Briatore who was the team principal that guided him to the riches of the sport. So it's a no-brainer that this guy is a big name in the paddock. However, it's not all for good reason. He's made many controversial decisions during his time in Formula 1, such as axing talented drivers like Jenson Button and Jarno Trulli, running his mouth towards the very sport he works in, and even being banned by the FIA for all FIA sanctioned events due to a race fixing scandal. More on that later. However, when dismissing these dark patches in his history, he's a very important gear for any team he works with. But why are we talking about him, especially when he's not been involved with the sport in nearly over a decade? Well, that's because he might actually become involved. That's right lads, Italian Santa could be making a comeback to the paddock in 2022. But how? And most importantly, why? Well, let's first of all take a look at his life before F1. He started his career as a restaurant manager, not too shabby, well apart from picking up several fraud charges in the 1980s and 2 prison sentences for reasons we won't get into full detail of. Guess he was a bit of a mad lad from the start. In 1990, he was promoted by Luciano Benetton to manage the Benetton F1 team, where he displayed his erratic decision making, for example, hiring and quickly firing engineer John Barnard, as well as his unquestionable eye for talent, for example, signing Michael Schumacher to race for the team. In the same year, Schumacher went on to win his first driver's title and the following year secured both championships for himself and the team. It was evident Briatore knew Schumacher could be the best and built a team around him at Benetton, a mindset which arguably left him swimming in success. It wouldn't be Flavio Briatore without something going wrong though, as during 1994 he and the team came under allegations of cheating, resulting in fines and a 2-race ban for Schumacher. Come on Flavio, take a break from the mafia lifestyle will you? When Big Schumi and a number of technical staffers left for Ferrari in 1996, Benetton sunk to the midfield. Results were minimal, and as a result, Benetton felt Briatore was doing niche, so they gave him the boot. But you can't get rid of Flavio that easily. In comes Renault F1, who buy out Benetton and appoint Italian Santa back as managing director, replacing Rocco Benetton. Talk about sweet revenge. In 2002, Briatore upholds his reputation as a talent scout by securing the upcoming Mr. Fernando Alonso with a drive at Minardi in 2001, and later as a test driver for Renault in 2002. And much to everyone's surprise, except the people who knew Flavio at the time, in 2003, Briatore promoted Alonso to a main driver at the team, while firing Jenson Button. Must have been biblical scenes down at Arava's place. People were raging at the decision, but Briatore, being the mafia boss he is, didn't give a damn, stating that time will tell if he is wrong. And you know what? He definitely wasn't. Similar to Schumacher at Benetton, Alonso came into Renault, learnt about his car and the team for 2 seasons before taking the fight to Big Schumi and Ferrari in 2005 and 2006, and emerging victorious in both seasons, taking home both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships in those respective years. It must have been a real sight for Briatore, watching the drivers he scouted out, both gunning for the title, but how the story would unfold for him from there. Much to Briatore's surprise, Alonso would turn his back on the man who kick-started his career to jump ship to McLaren for 2007. Flavio would remain as team principal for Renault for another 2 seasons, filling Alonso's seat with Kovalainen. However, the bittersweet rivalry between Renault and McLaren didn't end there. In November of the same year, Renault were found guilty of possession of information regarding the 2006 and 2007 McLaren F1 cars. However, to everyone's surprise, they were not punished, probably because McLaren were found guilty of the same regulation breach. Flavio, being the Chad he is, goes on to hit back at Ron Dennis, accusing him of cheating and acquiring an illegal advantage. Breaking the rules and going on to slander another team sounds like Briatore. But if that incident alone wasn't enough to knock sense into Flavio and the team, 2008's Crashgate did. After all, it led to his resignation. The controversy centered on an early crash involving Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. It granted Fernando Alonso, which realised McLaren wasn't the right path and had returned to Renault, the win thanks to the safety car. At the time, it was seen as nothing more than an accident, a loss of control. But a year later, Piquet Jr. would go go on to claim to the FIA that his accident was deliberately requested by none other than Flavio Briatore. Yes, Italian Santa had fixed the race to grant Alonso an easy win. Somebody give this guy a rulebook. Eventually, with all the chaos that ensued, Briatore would resign from Renault as he did not want the team to suffer from his wrongdoing, which is fair play. You could give this guy all the slack in the world, but that act alone was one of redemption. After the FIA saw what was unfolding in front of them as clear as day, they proceeded to ban Flavio from all FIA sanctioned events, as well as banning him from managing drivers who participate in any FIA sanctioned competition. It was one of the harshest punishments ever imposed on an individual in the history of motorsport, which was pretty easy to see coming. A few years passed, and Flavio claimed in an interview that he will not return to F1 despite having his ban overturned. And that brings us to where we are now. So why make this video if Flavio isn't returning? Well, that's because he probably is. On Instagram a few days ago, Briatore said, "Our brand new chapter in Formula 1 is about to start. We will bring you all the excitement, the entertainment, the fun and energy that this fantastic sport deserves. Stay tuned." It comes as a bit of a surprise, especially since this is the same guy that said F1 was depressing sport for rich accountants who have to fake overtaking. So what changed? If anything, maybe the prospect of the 2022 regulations have changed his outlook on the sport. However, he also wrote, regarding the future beyond 2022, there'll be some other good news coming out soon, which I don't want to spoil by saying now. So it's not only Flavio potentially returning to F1 on the management side of things, but also a brand new chapter in F1, something that could bring back the old energy and entertainment that it once had. What could this potentially be? Only time will tell. What we know for certain is that the mafia boss of F1 is on his way back to the paddock. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe and comment, as it helps us out a lot. We're a growing community and we always appreciate your support. Please leave suggestions down below as to what you'd like to see next. I'm Swinners and you've been watching Camber F1.